Did your parents value your life? My mother charged wealthy men $50,000 to pursue me through the forest with weapons. I was 13 the first time she drove me to the estate. She told me we were going on a camping trip, but I should have sensed something was off when she made me change into ragged clothes and took my sneakers. "You're going to run through those trees until the gentleman catches you," she said, gesturing toward a man loading a crossbow. "If you reach the highway before dusk, we get paid. If you don't run fast enough, we don't get paid. Understand?" I thought it was a cruel prank until she pushed me toward the forest edge, and the man began counting down from 10. That first hunt, I sprinted blindly through branches that shredded my bare feet as arrows whizzed by my head. I hid in a rotted stump for 3 hours, listening to him tramp around calling me Little Doe until the timer sounded. Mom collected her money and told me I did well but needed to make the next one more thrilling. Give them a real chase. Make them feel they earned it. On the drive back, she stopped at a Burger King as if we'd just come from a dance recital instead of me narrowly escaping being killed for sport. The hunts became monthly. Different men, different weapons, different rules. Some had rifles, some bows, some just knives in their hands. Mom coached me like a drill sergeant, teaching me to weave and backtrack, to use mud for cover, to control my breathing so I wouldn't gasp and reveal myself. She bought books on survival tactics and made me study them. "You're worth nothing to me dead," she'd say, sketching escape routes on maps. "So don't mess up and die." After the 4th hunt, I tried to escape, but she was ready. She showed me photos she'd taken of me changing, edited to look compromising. "I tell the cops you're a runaway selling yourself, and guess where you end up? Right back here, but no more hunts just sold to the highest bidder." I tried telling a counselor once, but Mom had already spread lies that I was a compulsive liar with violent fantasies. She'd even hired a therapist who documented my delusions about being hunted. No one believed the truth when her cover story was so airtight. By hunt 8, I'd gotten skilled at surviving. I knew which trees were climbable, where the soil was soft enough to hide tracks, how to use stream water to mask my scent. I'd broken a man's ankle by luring him into a bear trap I'd found and reset. Another shot himself in the foot after I doubled back on my trail. Mom started charging more for experienced prey, marketing me as a true challenge. She bought night vision cameras for overnight hunts. Hunt 10 nearly ended me. The client was ex-military and caught me within an hour. I only survived by playing dead after he choked me unconscious. Hunt 11 was an elderly investor with a heart condition. It should have been easy, but he brought his own rules. He didn't want to catch me, just wound me and watch me crawl. I still have the scar where his arrow pierced my calf. After that hunt, I told Mom I was done, and she could kill me herself. She laughed and showed me the next booking. "Next month's special, sweetheart." A group hunt, 5 men, various weapons, last girl standing. She'd found another girl to hunt with me. "Either you both make it out, or neither does. They're paying for blood this time." She showed me the girl's photo. She looked about 11, definitely trafficked. Mom had partnered with worse people, and her enterprise was growing. I started planning immediately. During supply runs, I stole rope, fishing line, and utility knife blades. I scouted the estate for new hiding spots and tested which plants could be crushed into poison for sharp edges. I wasn't just running anymore. The morning of Hunt 13, Mom drove me out early to walk the grounds. Instead, I set traps. Fishing lines strung at neck height between trees. Sharpened branches turned into punji stakes. She was too busy counting money on her phone to notice. The other girl, Lila, arrived at dusk, trembling and crying while her handler haggled with Mom. I tried to meet her gaze, but she was too terrified to look up. Mom made us strip and change into matching white dresses for visibility, then lined us up for the hunter's inspection. 5 men with 5 weapons, passing a flask of bourbon and betting on who'd take which girl first. The one with the compound bow kept smirking at Lila. I memorized their faces and weapons. As Mom counted down, I grabbed Lila's hand and whispered, "Follow me if you want to live." The horn blared, and we ran into the darkness. Behind us, weapons loaded, and men whooped like they were on a safari. Ahead lay 3 square miles of forest I knew better than anyone. For the first time in 13 hunts, I wasn't prey, I was the damn ambush. The horn's echo lingered as I squeezed Lila's hand 3 times. She flinched but followed when I veered left toward the stream. Her hand was slick with sweat, slipping from mine. Boots crashed through leaves behind us, and a round chambered. I pulled her behind a thick maple pressing against the bark. My heart pounded so loud I thought they'd hear it. 20 yards ahead was my first trap, and we had to reach it before they fanned out. I counted to 3 in my head, then yanked Lila into a sprint. She tripped on a root, but I hauled her up without stopping. The fishing line I'd strung was invisible in the dark. I dropped to my knees, pulling Lila down as footsteps thundered behind. The hunter hit the line at full speed, catching his throat. He fell, gagging and cursing, his rifle skittering into the leaves. We crawled toward the stream bank while he writhed, choking. The mud was cold and thick. I scooped handfuls and smeared them over Lila's white dress. She shook so hard her teeth chattered. The mud dulled the bright fabric. I rubbed more on her arms and face. Her palms bled from the fall, so I tore strips from my dress hem and wrapped them quickly. 3 rules, I whispered in her ear. Stay low, breathe through your nose, follow my steps exactly. She nodded, too scared to process fully. Through the trees, I heard a voice from earlier, Jasper, calling grid coordinates to the others, calm and professional, unlike the drunken amateurs. He had the compound bow and knew how to hunt. His voice neared from the east. We crawled along the stream bank, staying low in the mud. My hands found the metal post of the first camera, loosened from my morning prep. I tilted it skyward and smeared mud over the lens, creating a blind spot toward the hollow stump where I'd stashed supplies. We'd circle back, but the cameras wouldn't track us there. Lila grabbed my arm, pointing behind us. Flashlight beams swept the trees, maybe 50 yards back. We had to move faster. I pulled her into the shallow stream, wading upstream. The water stabbed my feet like needles. After 100 yards, I found the fallen maple with the X I'd carved. The hollow stump behind it, covered in leaves, held my stolen supplies. 3 utility knife blades taped to wooden handles, rope, gauze from Mom's first aid kit, and matches in plastic. I pressed a knife into Lila's hand. Hold it like this, I showed her, blade out and down. Only if someone grabs you. She was crying, snot mixing with mud on her face. A scream tore through the woods from the south, not a war cry, but real pain. Someone had found my punji pit. The sharpened branches weren't lethal, but would pierce a boot and calf. The screaming continued as voices rushed toward it. "What the hell?" someone yelled. "The little bitch set traps." They knew I wasn't just running. Mom's voice cut through, businesslike, on her phone about timing and bonuses for finishing within the hour. "Yes, both assets are in play," she said. "Premium rates for completion before midnight." My stomach churned with rage so intense I nearly vomited. She was negotiating our deaths like a takeout order. I wanted to scream, but Lila needed me to stay sharp. The stream curved, and I knew every rock from practice runs. "Step exactly where I step," I told Lila. "First rock stable, second shifts if you hit it wrong, skip the fourth, land on the fifth with your left foot." Lila followed perfectly despite shaking. The water muffled our breathing and washed away our scent. Upstream, 200 yards, was the maintenance shed. We could make it if we stayed in the water. More shouting came from behind, and Jasper's voice cut through. "Shut up and listen." They're smart enough to use the water. How did Mom find people willing to pay to hunt kids? Training me like a survival expert while selling these hunts was so warped. Did she learn these tactics or just invent them for profit? "You two take the north bank, we'll take south," Jasper said, his calm scarier than the screams. At the stream's fork, I paused. The left path was faster, with known hiding spots. The right was longer but had more cover. Lila's small, cold hand trusted me completely. We stayed together, taking the right fork, moving slowly through the freezing water. Lila stumbled on a sharp rock, slicing her knee. Blood mixed with the water as I pulled her behind a boulder. I wrapped gauze tightly around her cut and taught her our signals. 1 squeeze for stop, 2 for danger, 3 for run. She squeezed twice to show she understood. The wound wasn't deep but could leave a trail. I mimicked the whistle Mom taught me to make hunts. Exciting. It echoed west of our position, and 2 hunters argued over the direction, wasting time. We moved upstream until I spotted an arrow lodged in a tree trunk at head height, still quivering Jasper's work, missing us by inches. I worked it free, careful not to break it. The carbon fiber arrow, expensive and razor sharp, was now mine. A low generator hum guided me to the power hub. Cutting the main cable would create blind spots. We climbed out and moved through thick brush to the electrical box. My numb hands fumbled the utility knife, sawing at the thick cable. The rubber was tough, but the blade finally cut through copper. Sparks flew, and 5 camera lights went dark, giving us a corridor to the northern fence. The hunters' shouts grew sloppy with frustration and whiskey. I counted 4 voices, one was silent or circling wide, which worried me. Behind a fallen maple, I spotted a low trail camera and pocketed its SD card, along with 2 others nearby evidence if we survived. Lila whispered, "My sister. He'll hurt her if I don't make him money." The weight of protecting others hit me hard. Her handler used the same leverage as Mom. I squeezed her hand 3 times, meaning I understood. The tall cedar I'd climbed in Hunt 6 was ahead, its low branches perfect for a quick ascent. I boosted Lila up, then followed, bark scraping my palms. From 20 feet up, I saw flashlight beams, 3 hunters arguing near the main trail, a 4th moving wider Jasper, herding us like deer. I pulled out the burner phone I'd found in Mom's car weeks ago, hidden under the seat. Its battery was nearly dead, but I sent a 911 text with our coordinates before the screen died. We climbed down, Lila mirroring my moves. The hunters were close. I smelled cigarette smoke they'd stopped to regroup. Mom's voice, annoyed, carried through the trees, treating this like a delayed meeting. The arrow in my hand felt solid. I showed Lila how to hold it. Her shaking hands gripped it tightly. 2 hours until sunrise if we could last. I pointed to the culvert under the old logging road, a concrete tunnel to hide from cameras. We crawled through thick ferns, my feet knowing every route from Mom's drills. 50 yards from the culvert, branches snapped to our left. A hunter with a knife burst out, face red, panting. I threw mud in his eyes and he stumbled, cursing. I shoved him toward the pungy field. He fell into the stakes, screaming as they pierced his thigh and shoulder. Blood soaked his clothes, but he was alive. I showed Lila how to check his pulse and breathing for shock. Then we left him, his knife lost in the leaves. My foot caught a hidden root, twisting my ankle hard. Pain seared up my leg, but I could walk, not run. I wrapped my ankle tightly with dress strips. The pressure helped, but each step hurt. I tied rope around the stolen arrow, creating a makeshift spear for distance. Sirens wailed faintly, maybe a mile away fire, medical or police from my text. Hope and fear mixed. They might not reach us in time. Mom's air horn blasted 3 short, too long her signal to move east to the low fence. We went west, into thicker woods, defying her pattern. I hung a piece of white dress on a branch where Jasper liked to position himself. 10 seconds later, his arrow hit the tree, followed by his curses. He'd used 3 of his 6 arrows, assuming no extras. Light rain fell, chilling our soaked clothes. Lila's lips were turning blue. Hypothermia was a risk. The rain covered our movement but made everything slippery. I had Lila mimic my jumping jacks to warm up, despite my ankle's pain. The maintenance shed, 50 yards off, had a broken lock from my morning check. We reached it, the door creaking open. Inside, I found a box with backup SD cards and an envelope with $300 in small bills, Mom's petty cash. I pocketed both. Through the shed's slats, I saw Jasper scanning the trees, bow drawn. We held our breath, pressed against the wall, until he passed. I remembered Mom's warning about an itchy plant near the trail. I crushed its leaves and spread the paste across a path hunters used. A mechanical snap and scream signaled the bear trap I'd reset. A walkie-talkie skittered across rocks, 20 feet from the screaming. I grabbed it. Mom's voice directed someone to block the north exit, only 100 yards away. I pressed the talk button. Help. Kids. Armed men hunting. I threw the radio hard in the opposite direction, hearing it crash. Jasper's footsteps veered toward it. We slipped through the gap in their perimeter, crawling toward the culvert. The culvert's freezing water scraped our elbows and knees raw. Lila's breathing quickened into gasps. I stopped in the dark tunnel, counting aloud from 1 to 10 to calm her panic. After a minute, her breathing steadied and we crawled on. Emerging into thick brush, we saw flashlight beams sweeping as hunters realized we'd slipped past. My ankle throbbed, but stopping meant death. The rain washed off our mud, exposing us. Mom's voice on her phone discussed delays and impatient buyers. The fence appeared, but a camera's red light blinked on the gate post too high to disable earlier. The chain on the gate was thick, but the fence was standard chain link. I sawed at the wires with my utility knife, each cut loud and slow. Blood ran down my fingers as the tape loosened. Headlights flooded us Mom's SUV, its spotlight sweeping the fence. We dropped into wet leaves, crawling back into brush. Mom got out, coughing as I lit pine needles and wet branches, creating thick smoke. We moved deeper into the woods, but my ankle gave out on a muddy slope, twisting with a sick pop. Lila couldn't pull me up, and we slid into a ravine. Jasper's voice above offered $10,000 for a clean kill, no suffering. His emotionless tone chilled me. I gripped the spear as he peered through branches. I stabbed upward, catching his thigh. He cursed, retreating, blood on the arrow tip. Sirens grew louder, red and blue lights flashing half a mile away. Mom's radio crackled about aligning stories. I pressed our radio. We have the SD cards and receipts from your safe. Silence followed. She hadn't expected evidence. Flames erupted above as Mom lit flammable liquid, contained by rain but lighting the ravine. Jasper limped toward us, bow ready. Lila and I climbed the opposite side, my ankle screaming. I waved the white dress fabric toward the lights, legs shaking. Car doors slammed, and real police voices, not Mom's or the hunters, demanded answers. Mom spun a story about trespassers, but her voice cracked. A deputy spotted us, his hand on his radio, ordering weapons dropped. "We're kids," I shouted. "They're hunting us." The deputy's face hardened, calling for backup. Mom tried to block another, but he pushed past, unlocking the gate. 2 deputies entered the woods. One stayed, checking us for injuries. They caught the bear trap hunter, his leg wrapped, demanding a lawyer. Jasper tried to flee but was slowed by his wound, caught in 20 yards. Mom stood by her SUV, on her phone, as Detective Callahan took charge. He called for ambulances and questioned our injuries. A woman, Siobhan Kelly from Child Services, joined us, her gentle touch feeling safe. I cried not from fear, but relief. In the ambulance, medics documented our injuries: arrow grazes, my sprained ankle, cuts, and bruises. I handed Detective Callahan the SD cards and cash, drawing a map of camera locations from memory. They brought Mom in during my x-ray, her demands for a lawyer audible. Seeing her in handcuffs, I felt empty, not victorious. Callahan said they had enough to hold her without bail. The hunters were in custody, some treated, some at the station. Siobhan explained we'd stay safe, not returning to our old lives. She showed me emergency placement papers, but I insisted on staying connected with Lila. After calls, she arranged supervised visits twice weekly. News vans gathered outside the hospital, but Callahan kept them at bay. Our names and faces were protected as minors. Mom's bail was set at $2 million. Unattainable. Jasper was caught at a clinic, ratted out by a nurse. The hunters made deals, turning on each other. I gave a factual statement at the station, Siobhan by my side. The SD cards and map strengthened the case. 2 months later, Mom took a plea. 15 years minimum, no contact with kids. Jasper got 8 years. Others, 3 to 6. My foster parents, an older couple, gave me a room and space. Lila, in specialized care 2 counties away, learned English fast, and we had video calls. 6 months later, I worked on my GED and saw a therapist who helped with nightmares. I ran 3 miles daily in real shoes, no one chasing me. My foster dad built me a garage workshop for when my mind raced. 9 months out, I wasn't healed, trauma lingers, but I was safe, building a future. Lila and I planned to meet at a visit center. She wanted to cook for me. I saved for art supplies for her drawings. The trafficking trial loomed, but I didn't have to testify again. Mom lost everything: house, cars, accounts frozen for victims. A reporter's book attempt was blocked. I ran daily, attended therapy, studied. Small steps felt huge. The therapist said healing wasn't linear, and she was right. Hard days lessened. Good ones grew. Tomorrow, I had a practice GED test and a hardware store interview, normal things that felt miraculous. Lila and I would talk about school and running, not the woods. We were crafting new stories, safer ones, though the old ones lingered. Thanks for diving into this with me. I love exploring these questions together. Can't wait to share more soon. If you read this far, drop a comment. I love hearing your thoughts.